Hey folks, this is my update for Tuesday, April 5th. Before I get into things, I want to show you something I discovered which is kind of interesting. Yesterday, I think it was yesterday, fire department got a call for CO2 alarm going off at a house on our street, but up at the other end. So I hopped on Google Maps to see where it was, and I decided to check out my house just out of curiosity, see if Zach's car's in the driveway or whatever. And the satellite resolution isn't high enough to zoom in with any clarity, any detail. It's this particular area. Some areas are, some aren't. Where I lived in Hanover, you could zoom in really well and see everything, but not here. So I decided to go to Street View. Well, apparently it hasn't been updated in a while, because the garage has a red door on it. Landlord told me the previous tenants destroyed the door. That's why they're having the door issues here. So apparently it's before that time. But the biggest change is there's this huge tree in the backyard. It looks like a maple to me. That's not there anymore. So I wonder if it was just taken down for safety reasons or wind brought it down or what. But I thought that was kind of interesting. That's a huge tree. It's not there anymore. So I think I talk about my batteries and the issue I'm having with them. Actually, I'm going to save that. I'm going to save that too. I will explain it in a bit. But when I got the new batteries, after he left, I went down to Timmy's, and I was leaving Timmy's and my batteries were almost dead already. So I came straight home. By the time I got home, I was on low battery warning. So my assumption at that time was batteries weren't charged very much. And I figured that was the problem. Turned out it wasn't. Okay. The snow shovel must have been leaning up against the fence and the wind blew it over. I don't know. So anyways, I will explain all that in a moment. But while he was here, I was talking to him about different issues I'm having with the Monster. He took a look at that front wheel, and basically what he told me was, without actually being able to see it, because I'd have to lift the Monster up from the seat underneath side of it where it's welded, but he says it's probably a nut that's welded, and then this vertical shaft that holds the bearings is screwed into it. I don't think so. The reason I don't think so is because the shaft comes through, and it's like this. It's like a little volcano. There isn't room in there for a nut to be around it. The weld would be a whole lot wider, plus a weld wouldn't go all the way up to the end of the shaft. Plus it was powder coated, and the end of the shaft was powder coated with it. So, but like I say, you can't powder coat with bearings inside. So it didn't help any. It didn't solve my issue. But I have been thinking about it since, and if this weather ever gets better and I finally get around to starting to do the work, I'm going to attempt to fix it myself again. And the reason for that is, first of all, I don't have the frustration level I had in the autumn, and I'm more motivated now to actually do something. If I can't figure it out, I'm going to cut that bar off, I'm going to drill that hole out, and I'm going to put a threaded rod through the center of the bearings, so it's nutted on both ends. That's my solution. It's an easy fix. If anything goes wrong, I can replace that, right? Easy peasy. So that's my plan. I won't know for sure what I'm going to do until I take it apart. If I can do that, I think I can. I'm sure I can. But we'll find out. So that is my future plan. But it's just a matter of waiting for this weather to finish. So we got another weather advisory. Winter weather travel advisory, beginning this evening. Snow heavy at times with local accumulations of 12 to 25 centimeters by Monday. Northwesterly winds gusting up to 70 kilometers per hour, causing significantly reduced visibility at times in blowing snow this evening through Monday. Lake effect snow will develop this evening as cold Arctic air floods into southern Ontario. The snow is expected to last into Monday with varying degrees of snowfall intensity during this period. So, it's not giving up. Like I say, this is March. We tend to get one final really good snow in March, which I think we already had. There's so much activity outside. I keep thinking someone's here interrupting me. So I was hoping, that was it, but no. More snow coming. And the next day, while I was out, it decided it was going to start. And the day after that, the winter was back. Yeah. So, I don't think I went out that afternoon, I can't remember. Or didn't go out that morning, one or the other. There was a day that I skipped one of my trips. Instead of doing one in the morning, one in the afternoon, I skipped one of them. Just because of the weather, I just didn't feel like going out. So, the next morning, and another really nice snowy drive. So, I made the decision, I'm not touching any more snow, and I haven't. It's actually done pretty good. Temperatures were going to be rising anyways. It was supposed to be 12 degrees. So, yeah, Wednesday we got another major storm. And I updated the tornadoes that the states got, the southern states there. I said I heard there was 40. It turns out there was 70. So they had 70 tornadoes from that storm. And I guess this one, another one coming. Another risk of freezing rain for us. So when it started, I looked at it, and according to the radar it was snow, but it was actually ice pellets. It wasn't freezing rain. At least I don't think so. There wasn't any ice coating on anything. It was just ice pellets. It looked like it snowed, but it was those tiny little ice balls, which made it look like snow. So before that was over, we got another weather statement. Strong winds expected Thursday. Strong winds gusting between 80 and 90 kilometers per hour. Utility outages are possible. Yeah, and that's from the second storm system. So I got looking at the radar, and it's got a really, really scary looking squall line on it. I zoom in up close to it. It's long. It covers many, many states. It's a very, very distinct line, and it had embedded tornadoes all along it. And it was just beginning to start. It was just starting. It's like a 3-day event. So look at it today. Today it's on the East Coast and mid-Florida. So it's kind of moving away now. I've heard 27, I think, tornadoes. Reported tornadoes, confirmed tornadoes so far, just from this one. But it's not over yet. There's another storm system coming, getting set up to come through for next week. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting spring if this keeps up. So, before I explain my battery situation, I got one more thing to talk about, and I forgot. I was going to grab these and I forgot. Actually, two things. Finally, got the clear lenses. on my old glasses. Right after I made that video about them, about fixing the lens, I started having an issue. When I turn them on, it speaks to me. It says power on, and it says connecting, and Bluetooth connection successful, something like that. Well, the next time I used them, it was only in one ear. The other ear was dead silent. I was like, oh great, that's a good thing I got new glasses, right? Well, Michelle called me one day when I was out, and her voice came through both. So only the speaking part comes through one side and not the other. Not the actual phone conversation. I can hear through both. That's just weird. So I got my old glass, or my new glasses. I haven't used them yet. I've been waiting to get those other ones. Just a matter of waiting to find the time. So I kind of almost think I've talked about this, but I can't find it anywhere. I got an upgrade for the Monster. I got thinking, my bumper headlight quit working. And it came in a package of 2, thankfully. I had a replacement. So I got thinking, well, if this one fails on me, I don't have anything to replace it with. I'm going to have to order them and wait for the order to come in. So I bought another pair of them. These are different. These are going to be better. I'm hoping anyways. They're the same thing. They're still 120 watts, so they won't take any more power. But these are like 3 times brighter. The old ones, like I say, they're 120 watts, but they were only 4,800 lumens. Lumens. But these ones, they're still 120 watts, but they're 12,000 lumens. So they're almost 3 times as bright. So I'm kind of looking forward to them. I'm definitely not going to be able to have them on. It says volt blind drivers, but I don't know. I'm not going to take that chance. I'll probably get flashed or whatever. I got thinking of using both, so I'd kind of use it like high beam and low beam type thing, but I do have an extra switch, but I'd have to alter my bumper mount. I don't really feel like doing that. Possible I could put the lower lumen one on the upper, where I've got the 18 watt overhead light, but if I do that, it might light my head up so bright that it dims the rest of the... I'm kind of worried about that, so I might not actually do that. I don't know. Once I see how bright it is, I'll decide what I'm going to do. I'll probably turn it off when there's traffic coming towards me. So that's an exciting update that like I say, I thought that I had already talked about it, because I remember talking about the lumens. There I go again. The luminums. But I can't find it, so obviously I didn't. So, I had to talk about my batteries. So originally, I wasn't going to get them to install them, because like I say, I was expecting the Monster to be apart by now, and I was just going to use them on my ES950 until, the Monster's fixed or whatever. But I'm still using the Monster, so I got them to put them in. And when we opened up the battery compartment, I couldn't believe the dirt and rust in there. So apparently I'm getting salt spray inside. So I have a lot of cleanup to do inside, which I wasn't expecting. But I have corroded wire connections. One for sure that I noticed, it is the left-hand side light, the orange side light, marker light, whatever. So it's not important, but if there's corrosion there, there's going to be corrosion other places too, right? So I'm... another job to add to my list when I take the Monster apart. I'm going to be rebuilding this thing by the time I'm ready to do it. Holy cow. But there's so much that needs to be done. I just added to my list, so I got to do some inspecting. But I got thinking about that, because he told me, like I asked him about my flashing light situation, and he told me, he says corrosion can either make or break a circuit. So if I don't have something turned on, one wire is generated, one side of the plug's generated, and yet the other isn't. If that corrosion makes contact, it's going to energize. But at the same time, all my lights came on. It wasn't just one. All my lights, it was like I turned them on. Back lights, front lights, everything came on and off at the same time. So, you know, that has to go through the controller. The power key is not turned on. So, where's that power coming from? Well, everything goes through the controller. The batteries connect to the controller, and the controller controls everything else. So, do I have a controller problem? He says another thing that can happen is if the key switch is going, you turn the key off, it's not always going to turn off. But at the same time, why would the lights come on? If I turn the scooter on, or if I turn the scooter off and the lights are turned on, they automatically turn off. When I turn them back on, I have to turn those lights back on again. So if that was the issue, then the lights wouldn't come back on if the key switch was coming back on, right? So I'm thinking, do I have a controller issue? So when I take the monster apart, I gotta put the old controller back in and find out. It's just so it's possible that could be my error code 7 issue. This machine is too technical. It's way too complicated for what it needs to be. So the other issue too, if that plug is melted, the plug that my replacement plug, the one that melts all the time, the charger plug, it's black. So if it's overheated, I can't tell. That's usually what generates the error code 7. So if that's causing an issue, maybe something's shorting. Is that what's causing the problem with the controller? Is it energizing? There's so many variables. I can't check one. No, it's not a constant issue. It's an occasional problem. So let's get to the batteries. I went to Timmy's, came back, batteries were dead. Threw the charger on, the next day, same thing. So I know when you get new batteries, you have to cycle them several times to give them their full capacity. And at this point now, I've cycled them I think 14 times and there's no change. So I got thinking, maybe it's my controller, or my charger, that's gone. It's not charging them full. Because the monster has this issue, once you plug the charger in and start charging, it starts scrolling upwards a little at a time, but when it gets to the top, it stops scrolling. But even if I only charge it a little bit, I unplug the charger, turn the monster on, it says full. It's misreading. And if you remember, back in Hanover the first winter when I went through that really heavy snow and got stuck in the snowbank and basically was in a high load situation, the batteries drained faster than the display said they were. So am I even getting a full charge? That's my next question. Because by the time I get to Timmy's, I've already lost the first 2 bars. And I lose the rest on the way home. So do I have a charger problem? So I'm using my old charger from the ES950. It's at least 7 years old, 7 or 8 years old. I can't use the Monster's charger because it doesn't like the cold. It's still cold. So I don't know. So yesterday it was 15 degrees. It was supposed to be 12. According to that, there was a 12 degree in there. It was 15. So I plugged the charger in. I went out that morning, tried the Monster's charger. The light was green instead of red, so okay, it's going to work. So I plugged it in. I went to Timmy. No, I had to go to the post office for Michelle, and I had to go to Mac's to get milk. So I went there first. So nothing else happened. I went there first to make sure I could go. I went to Max. I went to the post office. Nobody was out to talk to, so I didn't stop. I went down to Timmy's, grabbed my coffee. Still had lots of battery power left. I was able to come up through town again to the trail entrance. Sat there for a bit. And I think... I don't remember if I went straight home from there. I think I went straight home from there. And on my way home is when my low battery warning got. So I got at least 3 times the distance. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe that's the problem. Maybe it was my ES950 charger. So I plugged the monster charger in again. And I got up this morning. Timmy's and back was all I could do. Now the difference is, it's below freezing again. So is it the weather? Temperature? Because like I called the dealer, the Godrich dealer, and I explained everything. And I'm saying, like, he said, you know, talking about the weather and the temperature, I said, even if it was minus 20 out, I should still get more than what I'm getting. If it's the weather that's actually causing the issue. So there's just so many variables. I don't know. So to know for sure, I'll have to wait until the weather warms up. Consistently. So he said, what the manufacturer of the batteries consider a cycle is draining them 3/4 or more, and then charging them fully. I says, well, I know I'm draining them more than 3/4 because I'm on my low battery warning, so they're really low. But I'm not sure if they're charging fully. So I don't know what's going on. And I've been putting off working on the monster because I got to get this figured out first before I start using it on the ES950 and damage them. But he told me they have a 6-month warranty. So I've got 6 months to play around. I should give it a few more days, you know, keep going. The weather's supposed to get warmer again, above freezing. Not super, like single digits, but above freezing. Just give it a little more time and see what happens. I don't know, guys. I thought getting new batteries was going to solve my problem, not make it worse. So I'm very limited in how far I can go now. So I went out this morning, it's snowing again. It's not super cold, it was like -1 or something. It wasn't cold at all. But it was just snowing lightly. And there was not much on the ground at all. Just like a heavy dusting, I guess you could say. It's 0 degrees now, or at least it was when I looked before I'd come out. So it's right at the freezing mark now. Most of the snow that we got this morning's melted, but it's still snowing. It's still snowing lightly. Little tiny little flakes, which are going to be a pain, but it is what it is. So, well, I guess I'll keep going and see what happens. I just had a little more water come in. When the last snow we had melted, that last bit that we got, it all melted, and I got a little more water in here. It looks like it's all dried up now, so I don't have to worry. Oh, excuse me, I don't have to worry about flooding. The only wet spot's underneath the monster where the snow melted off it, so it's no big deal. That's not where I'll be working on it anyways. So, I guess time will tell, see what happens. So, I got nothing else to talk about. I'm all caught up. I got nothing to say for next time. I've covered everything. So, the next update I've got will be whatever happens from this point forward. So, I guess that's it. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on Friday. Or at least you'll see me on Friday.